Hi there, it's Nick Dutch here yet again. Before I continue with the main subject of this particular video, I just want to make a very quick announcement, and that is that I'm uploading some of my archive videos from this channel, as well as my other one, to blip.tv as well as filmrookie.net. So if you have access to those sites, you've got accounts there, you'll be able to view some classic Nick Dutch footage, if that's, what floats your boat at the moment. Now, this is a warm-up video, so to speak. I am planning on doing a live Ouija seance on Blog TV in the not too distant future. Since I made that last announcement that I was going to do this, a few more people have subscribed, but I don't know if the new subscribers have got a full idea, a full understanding as to what my interpretation of using the Ouija is all about. You all have seen something like this, just a board with the letters of the alphabet, yes, no, hello and goodbye, and some numbers on the bottom. I'm sure you have. But there is an awful lot of myths purely about Ouija. If you go onto the internet, go onto Google and just search for Ouija board stories or talking board stories, and you'll come up with loads of stories of people who believe that they have seen a large scaly demon jumping out of the Ouija board and breathing fire all over the place, with it making a strange smell of sulfur in the room and the furniture being scorched, and a wide variety of other unbelievable stories. There are also some stories which seem to be not only heavily influenced by certain Christian interpretations of theology, but also seem to be written to back up certain forms of religious theology. So there's an awful lot of questionable information out there. When I'm approaching the subject of the Ouija, I try to be as rational as I can, which is, of course, very difficult to do if you live in a room and you've got antlers on your desk, you've got a crystal ball, packs of tarot cards everywhere, and then you tell someone you're trying to be rational. They tend to look at you as if you're a little bit crazy. But no, I am trying to be rational. The skeptical attitude towards the Ouija is that the planchette, which in this case is just a fiberboard triangle with a hole in it, only moves around the Ouija board because the fingers of the seance sitters is actually moving the planchette. And this is caused or created by the ideomotor effect, which means that ideas in the mind creates muscular movements, which then moves the planchette. I actually do subscribe to this theory. I think it's very valid and very important. But there is still one big question mark, and that is that where do the impressions come from which makes the planchette move? Now, when I've been tackling my own supernatural experiences with ghosts, angelic beings, and indeed the instances of prophecy I've had, I am incapable, despite the fact I've studied psychology rather a lot, as well as sociology, and I also done 1 year of biological science plus neuroscience, and I can't think of anything that could have caused those particular experiences. One could say that in some cases there was a hallucinatory phenomena happening, for instance when one sees a spirit or a ghost or an angel or a demon. In the cases of prophetic vision, when they come true as clear as if a few minutes worth of time has been video recorded from the point of view of your own eyes and then played back to you, let's say 5 nights before, and you remember it clear and true. It's very difficult just to say that that was caused by hallucination when you knew which night you had that dream on. You remember waking up thinking that was rather weird. I saw this thing that looked like it was made out of felt, so kind of like a grey, dusty thing that was there. And then there was a piece of paper in front of me, and there was this strange black screen in front of me as well. And you remember like the angles of all these things. And then 5 days later, one of your friends in school encourages you to sign a petition. The piece of paper is laid on a table which is beside the chalkboard, which is of course black with some white dust on it, making it look like a screen. And yes, there was the blackboard eraser, the chalkboard eraser beside it, in just the same position as you saw in your dream 5 nights before. It's very difficult just to say that no, that was just pure hallucination, because you could remember the things that were said. You remember when people laughed. You remember when where the intonation of the language occurred, and so it couldn't just be hallucination. There does appear to be something else happening there. That's just one example out of many. When I do my Ouija seances, I say to myself, yeah, this is just the ideomotor effect, but if anything else is happening, then great, we'll just see what occurs. Maybe something will be fun or useful, or maybe it won't. As I believe, so to speak, in the ideomotor effects, what I do is I try and train myself, and I give myself the Ouija equivalent of typing lessons. And I just sit down, maybe when the TV's on or I'm just resting, place my hands on the planchette and move it around, spelling things out, you know, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog or whatever. And I get myself accustomed, I get my mind accustomed to where the letters are, where the hello is, where the goodbye is, and I get my mind and my muscles to remember where these positions are, so that when I'm starting my more serious Ouija seances, I'm pretty convinced that the ideomotor effect is actually going to work to my benefit. And then I can think about what I'm going to ask the apparent spirit or whatever. I use the ideas of spirits, angels, guides, and all the rest of that to stimulate the creative imagination, to make it more likely that I'll get some kind of result. It would be my understanding that the more primitive regions of our brains would react to primitive ideas such as anthropomorphized deities, angel spirits, demons, and all the rest of that. And that is why I use them in my meditations, prayers, and in work that I do when trying to contact these apparent beings. And that's why religious exercises are important. That's why some forms of superstition are important, because they communicate to aspects of our own minds. That's all for now. Catch me on blip.tv. Catch me on filmrookie.net. Carry on watching me on youtube.com. And we'll look forward to another great video not too far down the line. And of course the live Ouija seance, which is coming up very soon. Bye for now.